Welcome in Baseball and Coffee. I'm a little early from what I said I was going to be on. I said I was going to come on around 5 Eastern or 2 Pacific, which is where I'm at. It's 1:43 on Monday, October 27th. I'm up in the seats in the suite, and I didn't want to wait too long to get started before people start showing up, and it's impossible to do the stream. So I'm just going to get it popping and preview this game, Game 3, live from LA. That's where I'm at right now. Flew in this morning. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me really good. I might have to raise my mic level because there's a lot of music going on. But we'll get it going here in a minute and see if we have anybody in the chat. I'm gonna write a little thing to myself just to see if it's there. Oh, that's weird. Hold on a sec. I'm just trying to fix something real quick with the chat. Let's see if this works. How's everybody doing today? Excited for Game 3. I'm freaking pumped for Game 3. We are having a very hard time with my chat right now. What I'm going to do... Well, if I pop out my YouTube chat, at least I can see that while we're here. All right, good. You can hear me good. I see that. I see now people are in the chat, so might not be able to highlight things right now for some reason, but I'm working on that. My browser docs are weird. Hold on. That's what happens when you rush, you know? Don't ever rush at home. All right, we need to preview this game, so I'm not going to take too much more of your time for this. Hold on. I don't know, it's kind of weird that they're not popping up. But anyway, I see we have 27 people in here. I can see the chat. Yeah, I watched a lot of Daniel Brown. I see the question here in the chat. For some reason, I'm not able to make that happen right now. We're going to have to... I'm getting frustrated with my chat box right now that I can't put the chats on the screen, but we'll just roll without it for a minute. Yeah, Daniel, I did see the Kyle Boddy interview. Good interview overall. Learned a lot. A lot of talk about biomechanics, things that are very interesting going on right now. But... you know, at the same time, I think it's fair to criticize a little bit with some of the injuries that we've seen. You know, anybody's training methods, like, you know, show proof of concept. He mentioned a little bit in it that pitchers that train at driveline are less likely to get hurt than pitchers that don't. So, you know, release the data. And also, I just think, you know, we don't have a very big sample size yet. I think staying healthy is a very complicated thing, but there's no doubt that pushing velocities up is inherently more dangerous. I don't think anybody would disagree with that statement at all. So anyway, I thought it was a really good and informative piece of, you know, YouTube art that I watched. What is going on with my chat here? This is insane. I mean, CD24 saying he wishes, well, they wish that we would go back to control instead of chasing velo. The thing about it is, they're both hard to achieve. Right now, we know that it's a little easier to create velo, so that's a little bit of an issue right now. All right, hold on, let me try something here. All right, put it in here for now. All right, we're here. Let me take down this pinned message. Yeah, we are at Dodger Stadium. That's where we're at right now, Spectre. Excited to be here. It's going to be very, very cool. Yeah, Kieran Bowles is saying he disagrees with all due respect. I mean, look, there is a place for both. You need stuff. Like, I don't think that anybody would be interested in watching a whole bunch of soft tossers pitch forever. But at the same time, you know, I just think, here's the thing. right now, velo is the unlock that gets you noticed, right? It's the thing that gets your foot in the door, and oftentimes it's the thing that drives initial success for a lot of pitchers at the highest level. But if you want to have sustained success, you have to become a complete pitcher. Even guys like Aroldis Chapman have added many things to their game and become much more complete pitchers over the course of their career, and that's kind of the key. Figuring out the unlock to staying healthy yourself, how to maintain your stuff, but also how to be a complete pitcher. And what I mean by that is, layering in 7 or 8 different things that get batters out. Sequencing, locations, timing, deception, lots of different things, changing eye levels. I mean, there's so many things you can do as a pitcher. So again, if you want to have a long career, and really in baseball, you're kind of required to, if you want to make it your profession, because it takes you 6 years to get to free agency, or at least 3 to get to arbitration, then you better learn how to pitch at some point. That would be my advice. Now, teams are taking a lot of it out of the players' hands with the calling of the pitches, and it's certainly easier to develop more pitches than ever. So there are a lot of things that are kind of spoon-fed to guys now that make them nastier. But again, if you don't know the why and you don't take the time to learn the why or the how, that you get outs and constantly self-evaluate and become your own best coach, it's going to be a short stint. So anyway, that's my feeling on that. We got great stuff in the comments here. I'd love to put it up, but I'm going to have to figure out my chat in a minute. So anyway, let's get into the notes here for Game 3, right? We're doing Game 3 preview. That's the whole point right now. All right, October 27th. Shout out to everybody in the research department, of course, for always hooking us up. Dodgers can take inspiration from the teams below that completed World Series comebacks. I don't know if I would call this a comeback. They were down 0-1. Hard to call it a huge comeback, but they did win Game 2, technically erasing a deficit. So obviously here's some examples here. I don't really feel too compelled to read all of that. This is the 32nd Sports Equinox today with the Big Four North American Men's Leagues all in action. NBA's Toronto Raptors visit San Antonio at 8, while the Lakers tip off against Portland at Crypto.com Arena, which is pretty close to here. And then that's actually 3 miles from here. And then obviously this game starts at 5:08 West Coast, 8:08 Eastern time tonight. Stats to know: in a best-of-7 post-game series tied 1-1, teams to win Game 3 have gone on to win 69% of the time. So it's a pretty good number and a pretty good stat right there. This is a huge game. Almost 7 out of 10 teams that win this game tonight go on to win. So I always felt like Game 3 in any series, whether it be 5-game or 7-game, always feels really, really big to me. The math starts to get hard for the other team, right? They have to win essentially 3 out of 4. And that's not easy to do against anybody. All right, teams out-homer opponents in this postseason have a 26-5 record, 839 win percentage. No kidding. I think this is a funny stat a little bit because home runs inherently are runs, and there's been some home runs with guys on base, like Barger's grand slam the other day. Those are going to drive winning big time. But, sometimes it's what happens to the build-up to the home run that makes it particularly potent and particularly effective. See if I can't find my YouTube control panel dock. Oh, this could be part of why. Hold on, let me sign into my... Hopefully you guys can't see any of that, no? All right, good. Let me sign into my account here on here, and then we'll be able to pop up the things, I bet. Pop up the things in the chat. Even pregame, even 3 hours pregame, the speaker is thumping here at Dodger Stadium right now. And it's quite far away from me, and it feels like I'm wearing headphones, so it's pretty funny. All right, what do we got here? Just type in yes on the tablet. All right, now we're connected. Now I'm wondering if I'll be able to pop the comments up. It's such a better show like this. Let me get this in here. See, we got 56 people in the house tonight, which is much appreciated, of course. See if we can get this Chat Ninja to work today. Come on, Chat Ninja. God, it's so annoying. What a frustration. All right, hold on. feature chat overlay. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to slap it in here. Still not doing squat. What a joke. What a joke. All right, we're just going to go back to the YouTube chat bot then so I can see what I'm talking about. All right. All right, let's continue along here. So sorry about that delay. Trying to make it better, but failing miserably. All right, stats to know here. Dodgers pitchers have averaged 11 strikeouts in their 10 wins this postseason and only 4 strikeouts in their 2 losses. This plays into, you know, a little bit of reasoning when you're thinking about why the Blue Jays can win this matchup. Obviously, the lack of strikeouts is a big deal. That comes into big play today with Glasnow. One thing that I want to know before we even get into thinking about this matchup is think about the differences stylistically between Snell and Yamamoto and how that played out in games 1 and 2. Yamamoto is very used to pitching to teams that make contact because that's by far the prevailing style in Japan. He adjusted very well to it, he figured out as the game went on what to throw and how to get the contact that he wanted, but it was very impressive. I was at dinner last night with a former teammate, and we were talking about the Blue Jays lineup a little bit, and he was noting that, you know, really the way to go about it sometimes with some of these hitters is you got to get them in the air. You got to get them to hit fly balls. And yeah, you might hold your breath a little bit, but the odds are a lot of them aren't going out. There's only a few batters in this lineup that you have to keep out of the air, and then the ones that you have to keep out of the air, you got to keep them on the ground. So it's about learning how to control the contact rather than hunting the strikeout at every turn. So anyway, that's going to be interesting tonight. Opposing batters are 1 of 29 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position against the Dodgers. 22 consecutive hitless at-bats. This is definitely going to be a big deal because if you're a contact team and you're going to try to beat the Dodgers, you're going to need to get some 2-strike hits in this series. So the Blue Jays look for that. I thought in Game 2, early, when they had Yoshi on the ropes a little bit in each of those first 3 innings, they lacked that one big hit. They kind of let him off the hook, even in that first inning, obviously. Double single to begin the game. No runs. So, you know, it's something to look for, but every team tries to succeed, you know, with 2 strikes and runners in scoring position. It's the hardest thing to do. Pitchers aren't going to give in. They know a single can beat them. And, you know, I feel like Yoshi really bared down in that spot the other day. We'll see what happens with Glass today. Opposing batters are 1 for 29 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position against Tyler Glasnow this year, including the postseason. So the identical stat for the team and for the Dodgers. 15 consecutive hitless at-bats. The only hit allowed by Glasnow with 2 strikes for a hit was a hit by Ty France, 2-strike RBI single on August 10th. So Glasnow pitched against these boys, so we'll probably get into that a little bit today. Also, Scherzer pitched against the Dodgers as well in that matchup between him and Max. I see a quick comment in the chat from David Tay. I'm a sad Mets fan. They lost Antoine Richardson. Ooh. I'm wondering if Antoine didn't want a different job, like he didn't want to get a raise up. I'm sure he wanted to move up. He's been a first base coach for a few years now. At some point, you want to climb the chain, and he does a fantastic job. So maybe he wasn't getting what he wanted in terms of a new role for this year. Hey, Adam, the Jays had some struggles in LA this season, striking out an inordinate amount. Is there anything to the fact that coming from a series in Colorado can impact your next one? Yeah, but we're not talking about Colorado right now. In Colorado, it was always hard. This is from Planarius, is the username here. Colorado, it's always tough because you go from mile high where the balls move about 80% of your normal movement, and then you go to sea level and everything looks nasty. All right, keep it moving. Glasnow and Scherzer have both added fastball velocity in their starts this postseason. Glasnow was up over a full 0.9, and Scherzer was up 0.6. So both significant. It's one of the first things I noticed about Max, being that he's 41 years old, and we wanted to know how he would look coming off of 2020. Coming off of 22 days rest. I see people are telling me to be careful of the copyright strike. I don't really know what to do about it. I'm not, you know, it's not really a part of the show. It's just background at this point. So I don't know if there's a way to eliminate that or if I'll get popped or what, but we're going to do the stream and we'll see what happens. All right, Will Smith, 3 RBIs in Game 2, has 34 career postseason ribbies as a catcher, 3rd most in history behind Jorge Posada and Yadier Molina, two of my favorite catchers, both Puerto Rican. Smith also had a 1 RBI as a DH. Ernie Clement is 8 for 18 with 2 strikes this postseason. That's insane. I didn't even know he got to 2 strikes. He's been swinging so often early. So I'm surprised he even had 18 at-bats with 2 strikes, to be honest with you. But 8 for 18 is fantastic. That's the most hits of any player. Meanwhile, Varsho, 3 for 27. Kirk, 2 for 27. Springer, 2 for 23. Those guys have combined for 7 hits and 77 at-bats. Kirk's 270 average with 2 strikes was number 2 in MLB in the regular season. Arise 287 led the league. Toronto's 193 average with 2 strikes was number 1 in MLB in the regular season. Isn't that crazy, folks? 193 average. 193 average with 2 strikes is the best in the league. So as a pitcher, if you're a kid and you're thinking about how you're going to attack, like, it's all about getting the 2 strikes. I mean, the team that led the league in 2-strike hitting hit 193. So by getting to 2 strikes, you've made yourself so much better. It's just so simple, but that's why the trick is how to get there, right? So, but that's such a telling stat. Jays batters have the 3rd lowest whiff rates and 5 of the 8 lowest this postseason. Number 1 is Ernie Clement at 13.5%. Kiner Falefa, 15.4%. Vlad Jr., 15.8 is number 3. Then Kirk's number 5 at 15, basically 16, and Lucas is at almost 19 at number 8. So, I don't know. What are we trying to say there? We're trying to say they don't swing and miss a lot. We knew that. But that same strategy that works for them so well, and really, renders some strikeout pitchers way less effective, also did not work against, Yoshi, and that allowed him to go the whole game and not have to see any other pitchers. Hold on, I gotta check on food back in New York for the kids. Should be there. And yes. All right. Let's see here. Also, here's something. Blue Jays whiff rate so far as we progress in the postseason. ALDS, they're at 20.6. ALCS, 20.9. Those are ridiculously good for a whole series. And then 17.6 for game 1, obviously, in the game that they win. And then, in the game versus Yoshi, 30.4. So, yeah. They swung and missed more in the game that they struggled. I don't think that's too confusing to figure out. Highest World Series OPS in history. Number 1 is Big Papi. Wow, 1372. Number 2, George Springer, 1251. So watch out for George. He also crushed this Dodger team, which I know they're not happy about, in the trash can season of 17. But he's very comfortable, obviously, in this ballpark. Right now I'm watching the Dodgers infield take defense, and they are so smooth out there. This is such a good vantage point from up high. Just to remember how good these guys are, right? It's insane. All right. 3+ Cy Young winner versus 3+ MVP winner World Series history. So this is obviously showing the Scherzer versus Ohtani. The only time this ever happened was Pedro versus A-Rod. So that's a pretty cool matchup in terms of history. Here is the pitcher usage as we sit today. We know Savage started the first game, so he won't come in today. Neither will Gosman. But here's the other guys that matter. Fluharty did not pitch in game 2. He's good to go. He's got 2 days rest. Same with Dominguez. Fisher pitched in both games, and I don't know if he'll pitch or not, but I bet he would be available in a short stint today. He threw, it looks like, 37 total. Bassett, 21 in game 1. I would say he's 1,000% available today in game 3. Lauer, same thing. Varland, 13 last game. He's good today, and Hoffman's certainly good with only 8. So Jays have a full deck in their bullpen today. Obviously, they don't want to throw every single guy because they're going to have 2 more games in LA, back to back to back. But you got to go all out to win game 3. This is a big opportunity tonight. Dodgers World Series pitch usage. Okay, so obviously Snell pitched on the first game, and obviously nobody else but Yoshi pitched the second game. So in the first game, Sheehan pitched 16 pitches, Bonda 12, Robolewski 14, Klein 14. To be honest with you, I don't expect any of these guys to really pitch today. Maybe Banda in the right matchup. Maybe they'd like to have these guys pitch because they're blowing them out. But realistically, I think this is the day that you're probably going to see some Trinan, you're going to see some Roki, and then they're going to have to figure out who else they trust. I don't know. I thought Sheehan was in the trust tree, but his style did not look very good in some of the versus some of the batters he got to face. Lucas really wore him down with a really good at-bat in that game 1. All right, we all know the roster. Nothing to see there. Here's the umpires. Will Little, Mark Wegner, Adrian Johnson, John Tumpane, the Ripper, Alan Porter, Adam Hamari, Jordan Baker, which is great for me because I came up with Jordan Baker through the minor leagues. I had Jordan Baker as early as probably A-ball, like low A, so I think that's cool. Replay guys for the series are Dan Iasonia and Jeremy Remack. Tonight, we got Wegner behind the plate today. He's the crew chief. This is his 3rd World Series. So they put the crew chief back there for Game 3. Interesting to know. We got some information in the chat here. Will Klein ended the season well. No one other than Roki has that much trust. I could see Klein getting more leverage. Okay, maybe we'll look for Will Klein to get in the game. I didn't even watch his inning because that game was... I was much more locked in on what was happening with Yoshi at the time. No, not Yoshi. I didn't watch the end of that game. It was a blowout in Toronto, and we ended up going to dinner at the end of that game with some of the guys here. So I was out on that. Okay. What else we got here? This is the basic notes. Dodgers have won 11 of 14 at home since 2024. That's pretty good. Means they're pretty confident here. We did win a game here last year with the Mets. NLCS game number 2. I believe Mark Vientos powered us with a home run. And after that, it didn't go so well. Could this be the final start of Scherzer's Hall of Fame career? In the regular season, he's got 221 Ws. 3,489 strikeouts, which is good for 11th all-time. He's almost to Walter Johnson, wow. And Scherzer's 176 postseason strikeouts ranked 5th all-time. He's 7 behind Andy Pettitte for 4th. Scherzer's making his 5th World Series start. He's got a 3.26 in the World Series. He's the 2nd player ever to play in the World Series for 4 different teams. So obviously Detroit, Washington, Texas, and now the Blue Jays. Scherzer faced Kershaw at Chavez Ravine on August 8th, taking the loss despite allowing just 2 runs in 6 innings. Both runs came on Mookie Betts' 2 outs, 5th inning home run. Okay, so I can't wait to look at these 2 guys pitch in a second, which I'm going to jump to in a minute. We're going to watch Glasnow and Scherzer and the way they attacked the lineup the last time. Scherzer earned the win in Game 4 of the ALCS, tying the series. That was the last time we saw him. That's when he yelled at Schneider to get off his mound, basically, which was very Max and pretty gangster. Scherzer had a 2.16 ERA in 4 games for LA in the 2021 playoffs. So yeah, let's not forget, he also did play for the Dodgers. I believe he was in a Dodger uniform when he got his 3,000th punch out. So that's pretty cool. What else we got? But now he's got to go against them, I guess. For LA, he allowed 2 runs. In LA in his career, he's allowed 2 runs over 12 1/3 at this stadium. Okay. When I think of Max in this stadium, I think of some other things. I think of him getting popped for sticky stuff early in the 2023 season when I was with the Mets. That's what I think about, and how that torpedoed the crap out of the beginning part of our season because we had to go man down for a little while when our starters were already not really capable of carrying the load. And then the one guy who was super built up to carry the load was out for 10 days. Sweat and rosin was the excuse. So either way, Phil Cuzzy wasn't having it, and we lost a pitcher. Tyler Glasnow struck out 8 and allowed 2 runs in 5 2/3 versus Toronto on August 10th. We're going to look at that in a minute. He's allowed 1 run with a 495 OPS over 13.1 innings in his 2 starts this postseason. He has more walks than hits allowed. This goes back to one of my buddies, Chris Perez. He used to close for the Indians. He came up together with the Cardinals. He used to always talk about how, as a relief pitcher, you could walk guys or give up hits. You can't do both. You got to be the guy who's so nasty you never get hit, and then you have some walks, or the guy who literally never walks anybody, so that you have a little bit of breathing room with your hits. He's not that wrong, but obviously as a starter, you got to limit those walks. It's working for Glasnow though, because nobody can hit him. This is Tyler Glasnow's 3rd career World Series start. 0-2, 10 earned runs in 9 1/3 versus the Dodgers in 2020. He was a member of the Rays. That was not even in Dodger Stadium. That was in Texas during the bubble. Hey, Philip. Yes, I'm at the ballpark. I'm in Dodger Stadium right now watching the Dodgers take BP and throw from the outfield. It's a beautiful day here. Chavez Ravine, one of my favorite places in the world. All right. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s 22 hits this postseason are the most ever by a Blue Jay. Ernie Clement, 21, is tied with 93 World Series MVP Paul Molitor for 2nd most. Springer homered in the final 3 games at Dodger Stadium in the 2017 World Series. That's what I was mentioning. He's kind of been at home here, so we'll see if that continues. He's going to get booed like really bad tonight, I would assume. His 797 slugging in the World Series is the best all time, minimum 40. Hold on. Talking about me, BC? Yes, I did. I pitched poorly twice versus the Dodgers in Citi Field in 2024, including the famous game where Jorge Lopez ejected his mitt and then got ejected off the team. Freddie Freeman has 1 RBI in 12 games since the postseason. Last year he had 1 RBI in his first 8 games of the postseason before coming through with 12 RBIs in the World Series. Will Smith is finally healthy and batting .409 during his 6-game hitting streak. He had the big home run the other day. We were saying it was going to take one swing of a bat to kind of separate Gausman and Yoshi the way they were throwing, and it came from Will Smith. There was a whole bunch of fastballs thrown, and then he eventually caught one and clipped it. All right, let's go back in time now, and let's look at... Let's go back in time for a second and let's go look at these guys who pitched against each other earlier in the year. Toronto and the Dodgers. Just waiting for this to load. Hopefully my internet is not this bad on my iPad the whole time. All right, let's see here. All right, so this was on, what did we say, 8/10? At what point do you pull the plug on Pages and just start Dean or move Kike to center and call it a left? That would be the move I would do if I was going to do it. I would move Kike to center and probably try Alex Call for a little bit, but I don't know, man. It's a tough one. All right, so this was the line from the regular season. Glasnow, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. All right, so let's first let's look at the breakdown. Let's see what he threw in this game and where he was getting whiff and not getting whiff on. Holy cow, did they just update this? Because this looks way different today. I'm like completely confused. Yeah, whiffs are way over here now. He did get 38% whiff in that matchup, and he threw 47% fastball, 27% curve, 17% slider, 9% sinker. He's been a little more sinker recently, so we'll see how that plays out. The big whiff pitch in that game was actually the sinker and the curveball. I think the curveball will be the antidote a little bit for him, like to what the Jays do. I think curveball's a good pitch. Yoshi threw a lot of right-on-right curveballs. The game we just watched yesterday in his complete game, he threw a lot of right-on-right curveballs to great success with contact. I'm wondering if that is something that Glasnow will, follow suit with that. All right, first inning, he ends up getting Lucas to ground out. I'm like trying to see. You know what? Let's go ahead and go through the batters one by one that we know will be in the lineup. So we'll start with Lucas. First at bat, he gets him out on a first pitch high heater. Nice play by Mookie. All right, so the second time he faces him, he's going to get him to ground out again in a double play. Curveball and four seam. Yeah, a Spectre saying Dean's bat is subpar. I don't think Dean's going to get any at bats. He's in there for defense and base running. But I could see Call getting in there and Kike sliding over to center. Kike's a pretty good center fielder. All right, so both times he gets Lucas on the ground with a high heater, which is interesting. You can see with Glasnow, I've talked about it a lot when we watch him. He's got a little bit of perceived cut on that fastball. So it gets in on the bat just a hair, and it's a punchy swing. So gets him out twice with fastballs up, and then he faces him a third time. Looks like he goes sinker, four seam. So he gets him out all 3 times with 4 seams. Let's look at the location on this. And yeah, Philip, that IVB number does look very low for Glasnow in this August start. You know, and this is a weird pitch. I mean, look at this. This is just a cutter down in, chopped in the ground. But gets Lucas out all 3 times with fastballs. All right, next batter we know he's going to face in this game is Bo Bichette. First at bat, he ends up walking him. I'm just looking at the sequences. 4-seam, slider. That was a 2-0 slider, 3-0 4-seam, and then a walk. So pretty non-competitive at bat versus Bo the first time. Did go for a 2-0 slider, so doesn't want to feed him a predictable fastball. Second at bat, looks like he gets him out with that slider. So it's a 2-2. Let's look at the location. Bo will be in his 2-strike approach, so foot's down, gets him to reach out a breaking ball. Okay. What was the approach in this at bat? 4-seam, curveball, 4-seam. All right. And then next at bat, he gives up a hit. So we'll watch the whole at bat that Bo gets the hit on. Fastball down. Yeah, the fastball looked like very not Glasnow-ish from shape in this game back in August. Slider away and then curveball. So I do think the right-on-right curveball is an interesting path forward for some of these Dodger pitchers after they saw the way Yoshi used it. Now, they're not probably going to have the exact same curveball. Glasnow curveball is not exactly like Yoshi's, but if you can get guys out front a little bit, you might get some contact that you like, given you're facing a team that doesn't strike out. This is a good job by Bo here. He's actually a little bit early on this curveball. As you can see, he kind of buckles, but still is able to ride it out. It's actually an impressive swing. So first at bat, non-competitive walk. Second at bat gets him to reach at a slider. And this at bat, Bo is able to stay back on a curveball. Yikes. We're back. All right, so now let's look at Vlad. Yeah, it wasn't a good curveball, but honestly, those are the type of curveballs, if you keep them away in the zone, Yoshi was getting fly balls on those. Those were getting outs the other day, that one that he just threw to Bichette. But I think Bichette is such a good contact hitter. It's a little bit different with him. I think I would try to just attack him actually more for strikeout in a way, because he hasn't seen so much pitching lately. All right, here's Vlad. He's going to double this first at bat. Let's see what he hits. Starts him with a slider here. Up high. And then the sinker. So, you know, we've watched so many Vlad at bats now this postseason. Ooh, and that's where he wants it. Up and away is actually the honey hole for Vlad Jr. His swing is totally geared to cover fastballs over here. So this is a mistake. They're trying to bust him in here with this sinker up in here, which is what we saw the Mariners try to do over and over again. We haven't seen the Blue Jays do much of it. There's Yoshi threw splitters, but Snell obviously is a lefty. He didn't go in with that approach, but it'd be interesting to see if they go in with the sinker at all to Vlad, because that seemed to be a decent strategy, especially when you get it up and in. But he also turned on Yoshi's fastball the other day that was in off the plate, like 96. So my guess is they're going to stay more down and away, up and in overall, but you can see how this swing here, it's just so geared for up and away. And if Glasnow throws the ball here, he's actually probably not going to get it back. He's lucky that he got this one back. And I would guess Kike probably catches that ball, but 96 at 22 just misses it. And that was one of the early runs that they did score. So let's look at the second at bat for Vlad. It's a strikeout, so let's watch it. If the internet will work. Come on, internet. All right, well, let me look in the chat while this thing's loading. I feel like the Dodgers pitching staff is more geared toward Ks. Yeah, see, Tyler Glasnow's one of the nastiest pitchers I've ever seen up close, and definitely in the league. Like, you saw how great he was the last 2 games. But he's a heavy strikeout focus. any type of ability to control contact that he may have is relatively new. It's not something that he ever tried to go for in Tampa Bay, you know, and I know he's added the sinker since he's come to the Dodgers, and that might help. But that's what he's looking for right there, is basically to burn you with fastballs up and then pair that curveball that comes out pretty high. You can see this ball's fairly high, and then drop it all the way into the dirt and get you chasing it. So that's really what he wants to do, is pair the fastball and the curveball all day long and get these types of swings. You know, anytime you get a great hitter like Vlad to swing like this, dude, what the hell, man? I have to do this again. This is insane. All right, let's try it again. Anytime you get Vlad to swing like that, though, you know you're in a good spot with your breaking ball. You know, I mean, he's a balanced hitter. In the last couple games, I haven't seen him off balance the whole time. He's a lot more locked in than what he looks like in this video, obviously. But you know, there'll be an effort to get him to chase. Here's a third at bat, so let's watch this one. Starting him with slider. Four seam got clapped to left. Curveball got chased in the dirt. This is an auto take on a slider, and then he's going to go ahead and try to put this one on plate. It's another slider. Let's see where the location is here. Yeah, got him reaching a little bit. That's pretty weak. Pretty weak little tapper there. And then later in that game, Vlad actually homered off Trinan. What did he hit? Oh, this is so crazy. My internet is brutal at the stadium right now. I'm doing these from the hotel tomorrow because it's just not the same effect. Just want to really quick see this home run that he hits off Trinan on a sweeper. Gets him on a sweeper on an 0-2 count, huh? And Blake's really struggled just with his command, I would say, overall. That's middle 0-2. You can't throw that to Vlad, so all right. We'll just remember that if they face each other again. Okay, so Barger should be in the lineup. He lines out the first at-bat first last time on a fastball. Let's see the location. 0-2, they've got a high target here. Misses down, can't make that mistake to Addison. Gets away with it here. I don't think this was the sharpest game ever for Glasnow. He's still got 8 strikeouts, but I feel like he's definitely pitched cleaner before than this. All right, curveball there. Man, this game was such a weird game to look at because his fastball's not behaving like normal. Very low level of VB, and he's cutting it super, super crazy. So honestly, there's not a ton to look at in this game that so far I'm thinking is super pertinent to what we're looking at. He's pitched a lot better recently, and also I can already feel it. The shadows are going to be another factor today, 100%. They're going to creep in, and that's going to play in a little bit to Tyler's effectiveness to getting chase out of these Blue Jays hitters, which is the tough thing, right? Tough to get the chase. Oof. I definitely expect to see a lot of these to Barger. He's so far over that. Also, I mean, like, I like Barger as a player. It's just like, look at how the hip is so pulled open. Like, he really can cover this inner third. You know, I feel like if you stay soft away, you got a pretty good shot. Now, at times in this year, he's been able to spray the other way, but in this swing right here, he is so far gone, and so I expect to see some of that. Let's see how he gets him the next at bat. Calls him out, gets him called out on strike here on 3 pitch. Is his curve always 12-6? Yes. He's got an outstanding top to bottom curveball. The shadows are going to come in this game, I would say, midway through this game. They're going to start creeping in, 100%. The thing about Dodger Stadium is there's this big tower right above home plate at the very top of the bleachers in the upper deck. Dude, what are you looking for here? How do you take this pitch? Curveball, fastball. So he's sitting on a curveball, I'm guessing. and then he just gets the fastball right down Broadway here and just takes it. Yeah, so even Barger knows that that curveball is probably the biggest challenge to him facing Glasnow. So let's watch how the curveball affects Barger today. All right, Varsho will be in there. Walk, walk. So nothing really to see there. Here's Clement. Gets Clement swinging in the first at bat. All right, this is a good question here from Schumann, and we'll break this down in a second. What does Glasnow ideally need to locate his fastball? What signs do you look for to indicate he's on? All right, we'll do that. We'll do that right now as we're looking at this Ernie Clement situation. All right, so when he's facing right-handed batters, oh, I didn't mean to do that. When he's facing right-handed batters, we're going to use yellow as four-seamers. He's going to want his fastball from this point up. And he's got a little room off the corner away, which is great on each side. He wants to keep the heater up there, and I don't think he even minds too much if he drips the four seam on the outer third as well. Like, it's not ideal down low, but we're going to keep it there. All right, now on the slider, for strikes, he's going to want to be down here in the zone, and for chase, he's going to want to be over here. He's not going to want hardly anything to droop back in the middle here. That's where the slider gets in trouble. So away with those two pitches. All right, we're gonna go blue for curveball. Curveball, it's kind of more of the same. When he throws it for strikes, it's not so much how high or low it is, but in a perfect world, he'd rather be at the top or he'd rather be at the bottom in the zone and away, right? So these two little boxes right here is ideally where he'd want his curveball to be for strikes, but then for chase, it's this entire area down here. Right? This is versus righties. And then with the sinker, which he throws as well to righties, I guess I got to come up with a color here. We'll go with purple for sinker. Sinker, he might want to run a couple sinkers in here to keep him honest for that dive, since every other thing he's throwing is away. That's the purpose of the sinker here, is to keep him away. And also, if he's trying to get ground ball contact, this inner quadrant with guys who have more direct swings, they will chop that sinker in the ground. All right, now that's versus righties, and when I get a lefty up there, I'll show you my ideal spots for the lefties. Spector's noting up and away, but if you see him spike his curveball more than once in at bat, he's not on and will get shelled. I will say, early on, when he throws his curveball, you're looking for him to miss up with it and not down. If he's, to Spector's point, if he's hammering his curveball in the dirt when he's looking to throw a strike with it, not a great sign. There's a good one there, and why I say that's a good one, because it's up. And I think his curveball plays at the top of the zone. It starts so high, and it droops back in there. I like this pitch a lot to righties. So he did get ahead of an 0-2 situation to Clement here. Now he goes curveball and dirt. See, this is curveball dirt. This one's a little far outside to get him to swing at, but that's the general idea. Throw the curveball in the dirt when you're ahead in the count. Here's another one. Same thing. Ernie does a good job holding up. Now he's going to get him with the four seam, so let's see where he gets him. Come on, internet. Before everybody gets here and takes all the bandwidth. Yep, fastball up. That's when he's at his best. He makes it really hard for you to decide whether anything up top, is this a curveball? Is this a fastball? Like, it's really hard to tell, Because if it's a curveball, it's going to end up right here, in the zone. But it's not. It's a fastball, right? And so where does it end up? Impossible to hit spot. So, that's the idea, is to kind of play the top of the zone swing decision game. I would say that's Glasnow's superpower, and it really matters because of that extension, so the ball gets on you even better up in the zone. All right, second at bat. Looks like Ernie puts a curveball in play. So he gets him with a fastball. The first at bat curveball was part of that approach, though. And now he's going to get an out on a curveball here, if the internet will play it. Yep, see, it even plays at the top of the zone because there's a hesitation whether to swing. Ooh, I think he gets him there on that double for a double play. But, Ernie, if you watch Ernie in the box here, he definitely hesitates when he swings here. All right, so fastball, curveball so far is what we saw be effective to Clement. I think that's good. I don't think East-West approaches is good to Clement. I'd be surprised if he went sinkers to Ernie. I think you're going to see four-seamers up, try to make him put the ball in the air, especially to the opposite field. It's not really his strength. and then wipe him out with curveballs as much as possible. All right, I don't think Straw or Schneider will see him, or Loper Fido. We looked at Lucas. So that's everybody except for Kirk. And Kirk didn't face him either. All right, so that's it for Glass now in terms of the review of this game. And then Scherzer, real quick. Oh, wait, time out. You guys want to see what I think against left-handers. So let me do that. Versus lefties, he's got a little more to work with, I would say, in terms of locations, right? So if he's gonna go fastballs, he's got literally this whole top area, the same as the righties, but he also has this entire back area because his ball comes back to the plate. So it has some element of comeback to it, so it's kind of hard to tell what's going to happen as that ball has that run back action. And then also, you know, he can use it to bust you in too because it has so all that is great with fastball, and really has probably more leeway than I'm even giving. It's probably all this. Just don't want to miss that middle down to most of these lefties. Same deal though when he's throwing his curveball, right? The curveball, you're great all up top, all back door, but and then over here for strikes, and then your money below. Where you don't want to miss is that down and in, middle down location. Slider, you don't see a whole lot of sliders out of Glass now to lefties, but if you do see them, they're probably going to be to the back foot or they're going to be to the high back door. And then the sinker, let's do, guess we'll do orange. Does orange work? No, we'll do blue. We'll do light blue for sinker. Sinker, what I would say, he doesn't throw a lot of them, but what he's going to throw them is over here for comeback strikes. He gets action enough to play it with a fastball or slider, then he probably won't throw it. But if he gets take action in here, like guys are taking, then he's going to run something back to the corner with that sinker for freezes. And there's certain bat paths that he might try it on. Not really of the lefties in this matchup because Varsho's weaknesses is high fastball. Barger likes the low pitch as well, and who's the other lefty he might face? Lucas, he got him out with fastballs at the top of the zone, so I don't see anything different about that. All right, let's see if we can't find Max real quick, because he did pitch in a baseball Wago versus this team this year. 808, here he is. And we'll watch the Dodger hitters against Max. So Ohtani versus Scherzer, first at bat. I think this is the matchup where we're going to be looking at Max's velo early on. If he's not 94, 95 at the beginning of the game, then that makes it that much more imperative that he locates in teeny tiny areas. That's number one for Max. Number two, how does the changeup look? I think the changeup is a big pitch tonight. But then really number three, and maybe the most important thing, and we'll get into it when we face the righties, is he cannot back his slider up into the middle of the plate. That's a mistake he's been making all year. I don't know, really for the last few years with some regularity, and I don't know if it has to do with his thumb health or what, but he was a little better the last game. He kept his slider away. Basically the mistake he needs to make is for a ball and not over the middle of the plate. So that's kind of the difference there. He has to be content to miss off the plate and throw another pitch rather than make the mistake where he throws it right down the middle. All right, so he goes curveball here. Shohei stays on it. So you can see what he tried to do here, you know, stylistically. Fastball, both to up and in locations, followed by curveball. He goes fastball both times. The intent with Shohei, and this is the book on Shohei a little bit, is to get your fastballs up here early to get him engaged and get him going, and then he's usually more susceptible to slow stuff down and more chases below, whatever. Max tries it and actually locates this curveball pretty well here, but at the end of the day, Shohei's a great hitter and he rides that curveball out really nice. So he saw the ball well there. Oh, wow. Thank you, Schumann. I love this. I will definitely try the Korean fried chicken tonight, just because you're paying for it, so I'm in on it. I'm in on it for sure. All right, second at bat in that game for Shohei versus Max. Let's take a peek at this real quick. Starts him with a cutter here in at bat number 2. Ooh, bone marrow tacos. All right. But the food here slaps because I've only ever had clubhouse food here. Wow, interesting swing through. So it's more of the same. Like, he started him with the four seamers up and in before, now he does it with the cutter. That same idea, like get up and in, get him engaged, and then pivot off of it if you have to. Let's see where he goes from there. Probably another four seam up and in, I would guess. Yep, there's the location. That's a big mistake. He does get another strike on it, but as you can see, Kirk's glove versus where Max throws this. He cannot be looking to do much of that today, but he does get to 0-2. So this is the second time that he's semi ahead of Shohei, and his second time he's gonna go to off speed here. So here's the changeup. Good pitch. So I like that. I like the way he approached that at bat. Cutter in, get him engaged in. Then once the fastball's away and he gets the foul ball and a fastball over, he uses that to his advantage and he starts another pitch, this changeup right at it, and then drops it off the outside corner and gets Shohei to reach. So he used his bad pitch there to his advantage to get an out on pitch number 3. So same formula though, start him hard in, go to soft away. Let's see what happens this third at bat. It's a ground rule double, so let's see what the attack plan was. Maybe he'll start soft this time. No, it's a fastball. And at this point, Max was winning this game 1-0. All right, so all 3 at-bats, he started him basically the same way, up and in quadrant. So let's look for that today, and we'll see if Shohei is anticipating any of that. Slider off of that, oof. Something tells me he was, because how do you not pull the trigger at this pitch? So Shohei allowing Max to utilize the outside corner a little bit. Now he's gonna go back to that changeup to see if he can't get another out with it. I know the Dodger dogs aren't what they used to be. They used to bring those in the clubhouse, and honestly, they're not it. They had a lot of other great stuff, though, here that they used to bring us from around LA, you know, In-N-Out and Chewy's and all sorts of really good stuff. There were some Venezuelan ladies that would come in and cook for us occasionally with the arepas. But we don't really get the food that they serve in the stands, so I'm looking forward to trying something tonight. Now, if the internet would work here, we could see this next pitch. Here we go. Another up and in target, showing you really where they want to, and you see why. He's definitely underneath that pitch. But it's so playing with fire, though, man. Because if he starts to anticipate it, you in there, and you miss a little down, it's see you later time. All right, now he's going to go to the slider off that. So I see what Max is thinking. He gets action up and in. He's going to try to chase him with a slider in. But he just misses down with it. So this is the same issue I talked about that we have to watch out for him versus righties. It's just not quite getting the hand where it needs to go. Like, the idea is to get this pitch in here for Chase. But he comes off it just a hair early, and so the ball just pops and kind of stays in the middle with no real action on it. And it's the second time that he makes a little bit of a mistake down away to Shohei with a spinner and gives up his second hit of the game to him. So let's look for that. Execution on the slider. Will he continue to throw the fastball up and in? And maybe he'll lean a little bit more on the changeup, because to be honest, the changeup looks pretty effective there. All right, Mookie Betts. Now with Mookie Betts, this is a complete execution matchup. It's how often can Max dot the outside corner, essentially. Gets to take all day on that fastball. Mookie pretty passive a lot of times early. And then it's just middle again. It's always a battle with Mookie. You know, can you keep the ball in the outside corner? Because anything that leaks back middle, his swing is just so quick and so geared. So this first at bat, it's really nothing to break down. It's 2 fastballs, and he does a good job kind of getting the head on it quick. All right, let's see what he gets on this second at bat. Starting him with curveball this time. And gets the free strike. I like that. Very nice. Now to the 4-seam. I would assume away, but if they go in, it'll be up and in. Oh, they're going away. And he hits that spot. As long as you stay right on the corner, Mookie will not hit home runs off of you. He'll get hits, but he will not probably hit home runs off of you. And so ultimately, that's how most of the time he gets pitched. And then slider off that. Now, the idea here is to start the pitch on the corner and run it off the plate. Max makes that same mistake again, and actually a pretty good pitch to hit. I don't know, Mookie didn't have a great swing at this. I think maybe because it had decent drop on it pretty late, as you can see. But this is also a bad executed slider. Max wants it over here, you know, and he throws it in a much more hittable location. So this is the thing you have to watch out for all the time right now. Every time I watch Max, it seems like he's got pretty good command of everything except for his put-away slider. It's been inconsistent over the course of the last few years. And then this time, he's going to get clipped by Mookie on a first pitch slider. Let's see where this pitch gets to. Yep, same kind of deal. Like, it's a 2-strike, it's a 2-out, man on second situation with a 1-run lead in the 5th. There's no question in my mind that Max would rather throw the ball over here than down the middle. Like, the intended target's right in the corner, but he'd much rather miss off the plate away here, knowing that you have an open base and a single gives up a tying run here. But he's just having a really hard time with the slider, and you see where he just doesn't get it there. It's just enough in the hitting zone. You know, and Mookie saw a couple sliders in a row that last at bat, so he's all over it. And those were the 2 runs that were scored in this game, was all on that home run by Mookie. So that's the whole game. Scherzer versus Mookie. We're gonna watch how well he can locate away, how well he can execute that slider away, and you know, does he try to go in at all? Does he try any right-on-right changeups at all? Does he get frisky at all, or does he just stick with the basic game plan? Away, 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 away. That's the question. All right, Freddie. First at bat, it's an 8-pitch strikeout, so let's watch that. Ooh, this backdrop might be cooler than my office. I said what I said. Thanks, baby. Fastball up and in. I mean, it is pretty nice. I would love to show the people what I'm looking at here in a minute. So, same approach as Shohei. Up and in, up and in. Freddie's a tricky one. Freddie's always ready to swing. He can cover top and bottom. Very, very rare. If you live directly in the outside corner, a lot of times that works, but it's like that pitch is a good pitch to Freddie. Can't live there, but oftentimes that's your best bet. Is just painting him away, as he does here on the 3-0. Oh, hi, Brad. Fastball up and in. This time he kind of beats him with it. So fastball away, fastball up and in. And let's watch some battle on 3-2. Here comes the changeup. Hold foul. We got beats going on in the place right here. All right, 96 up, misses down. Freddie in pretty good defense mode. Look at this emergency hack by Freddie. This is impressive. This is an impressive last second hack. Blue Jays guys are out here on the line throwing now. Look at that hack. What a hack. All right, and he eventually gets him with a slider. Let's see the location. Is it back door? Is it back foot? It's middle down. It gets the swing over. Yeah, with lefties, he has 2 sliders and cutters. He calls one, it's like the flat, and one's got the depth. This is the depth version. This is the one that he gets them to try to swing over it. So, really good pitch here. All right, second at bat. Starts him with the changeup. Pushes it away, and now 4-seam. Let's see if the location's up in again. Nope, they're gonna go for up away. Gets it to up in. So accidental good pitch there. Gets to up and in and pops him up. Third at bat, it's a walk, 4-pitch walk. So what was the scenario where he 4-pitch walked him here? Oh, it was right after the home run. So he tried to go up in perfect, misses. Yeah, and just kind of falls behind him. All right, so Freddie goes strikeout, fly out on an accidental up and in pitch. The strikeout was a pretty good slider down, and then the walk. So look for more of that same approach, up and in, trying to read the swings, get him to swing over something, curveballs away from him, fastballs up and away. All right, Will Smith gets him out on a first pitch slider. Let's watch the slider location. Will Smith, oof, got to be careful with anything inside to Will Smith. I mean, this pitch is way off the plate in. Odd that he even swings at it, and he gets the out. So kind of a happy accident here for Max, because this is a really bad pitch. He's trying to throw a strike down and away, but once again, having a really hard time in this game and really throughout the year getting his slider where he wants to away. I mean, if anything, he's lucky this ball stays as far in as it does. All right, next at bat, he's going to get him out on a fastball and a 1-2. Probably try to go up with it. Let's see it. Yeah, Will, you can definitely get above that barrel with a good fastball up. A lot of times he's a good candidate to start slow and then go hard late. Third at bat, we have another ambush. So he ambushes Max on 2 of the 3 at bats. That was a good swing. Finally drives through something, but again, just misses it. Something about the heater gets off the barrel there, 84-1. All right, so he got to face Max 3 times in this game, ambushed twice, did more damage on pitches in than away. I expect Max to live away versus Will Smith tonight. All right, Max Muncy. This is a tough matchup for anybody. 4-pitch walk the first at bat. And then a fly out, 4-seam, 4-seam. Let's look at the location of Muncy for this fly out. What was Max struggling on before the postseason that caused his issues? Did he fix it in the last outing? I would say, number one, his stuff, has slightly declined from his prime, but really, it's been a location thing, particularly with the slider. Now, the location hasn't been good with anything, but Max really chokes the ball with that thumb tuck underneath it. He's just and the thumb is what's been injured. Just having a hard time gripping the ball the right way, and it's causing it to squirt out a little early, and he's backing his slider up into bad locations. So I would say that would be the issue. But when he gets his fastball to locations, that up and in, it's been pretty effective. That was a good one to Muncy there, and then he ended up walking him another time. So I think Muncy might be, honestly, the lefties, particularly Muncy and Shohei, are the worst matchups for Max in this lineup. How often does he walk Muncy if Muncy's at bat matters? Obviously, you can almost never walk Shohei with the guys behind him unless it's a huge spot. But let's see how he goes about those guys. The command is a big deal, especially that command on that up and in fastball. All right, we don't know if Call's going to play or Dean or Pajes. I don't know if the lineups have come out yet. Pajes did face him 3 times. I'm going to skip to Teoscar, though. All right, so first at bat, he strikes Teoscar out on a slider. Let's see the location of the slider. Phillips asking if they let Max face anybody the 3rd time through. I would say no. All right, so here's an example of a good Max slider. Finally gets it, right? Comes out in the strike zone and then breaks it out of the strike zone to the left. This is actually like overcooked, but this is a much better mix. This is a much better mix in terms of location than where he was earlier in the game. All right, so Pajes is in there. We'll watch him. Slider down. This is a good question in the chat from Scott Ward. Who's the reliever for the Jays that complements Max? So if you're looking for somebody that would have a little bit of a different approach than Max, all the lefties fit the bill. Literally every single one of them. Little, Fluharty, Lauer. But of the righties, you'd be looking for more of an East-West game. You wouldn't be looking for as much of... I actually think Varland is not a great match after Max. It's better stuff than Max currently has, like more speed, but it's a similar approach. And we won't have to worry about plays like that because Jimenez will be playing short tonight. 3rd at bat, he flies out. Let's see where he goes here. 4-seam. Four-seam up played really well in this game versus the Dodgers way back when. When he got the ball up and away from these batters, he did pretty well, and when he got the ball up and into the lefties, he did pretty well. The changeup played. The slider was kind of the bugaboo. Did he get it there or did he not get it there? But when he gets the ball up, like you see here to Teoscar, for the most part, it was still playing. And you'll see Max doesn't have crazy IVB, but he has really low slot, so he gets good vertical approach angle on his fastball. All right, last batter to look at here is Pajes. First at bat, he got Pajes to pop up on a slider. Let's look at the slider location, because this is my number one thing I'm looking at for Max is he controlling the count? Is he getting his fastball locations? But really, I'm looking for the slider shape. Yeah, he backs up another slider there. You see how he did that? He gets away with it, but he won't get away with it tonight. If he continues to make these mistakes, I mean, this is a great pitch for Pajes to smash. Like, this is Pajes's happy area right in here. And he throws it right there, and he gets away with one here. Max cannot afford to make these slider mistakes in this game tonight, or he'll be in big doo-doo. All right, fastball this time, gets a hit this time on a curveball. Let's see the location. Another one left middle in, and Pages is dead pull, so not a good swing, but you're not going to strike him out in there. And then he does strike him out this time. Ends up getting him with a slider. I'm almost guarantee you it's away. Yeah, now this was the best slider I've seen him throw the whole day since we've been watching. This one actually starts off kind of middle. That's what you really want. And he chases him off the corner away. So with Pages, you know, the book on Pages is really sinker in, slider away, but I think Max will work in this matchup. He'll work fastball up and in a lot, and then definitely, you know, if you can get a fastball locked in away, you'll see these red slider spots down here are gonna be money. So yeah, I think that's kind of it. I'm gonna go look at the data from this game for Max. This was on the 8th. This was August 8th. Oh, I didn't click it yet. Here we go. So it was the 2 runs. They were all on that home run, but I'm more curious about the breakdown of the pitches. All right, so Max was 53% fastball, 21% slider, 11 curveball, 10 changeup, 4 cutter. He got 23% whiff. The good whiff pitch was actually the fastball in this game. 50% whiff on 2 cutters, but 39% on slider. It's all about the slider. He's not going to get whiff on much else. Slider and curveball, he'll get some chances, but it's really all about that slider whiff, so it comes down to the command. Number one thing I'm looking for with Max is his early command with the fastball and the slider, and how often he's willing to use his changeup. I think the changeup could be a big pitch today. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'd like to see the velocity up in a good spot, first pitch strikes, all that type of stuff. This is fantastic, by the way. We see velocity by innings now, usage by times through order. Man. Hold up. No. I don't know. They asked if I called for one of them, but no, I did not. All right, so that's what we're looking for from Max. Let's get back to the packet and carry on here a little bit. What do we got in the chat? So I got to figure out how to pop the questions back up here tomorrow morning. I'm so sorry. It's really hurting this experience. If Glasnow goes just 6, do you think they go just Trinan into Roki? I don't know. 9 outs, 2 pitchers. Maybe, but I bet they try somebody else first before maybe going to Trinan after that. I don't know. I agree with Jay Farrell 305's comment he just made. I don't think you can give up on Sheehan after 1 outing, especially since he was brought in bases loaded, no outs. Yeah, the reality is Dave can't put too many of his pitchers in timeout. Like, he's going to have to trust them. I'm sure there's some analytical matchups even with their lower end guys that they like Roboleski, or even I think Dreyer might be a guy, but I wouldn't be looking to squeeze multiple innings out of both of these guys. No doubt if you need them to go 4 or 5 outs and you have no other choice, you will, but they're hoping not to, for sure. They're hoping not to. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Entering Game 2, Toronto held the highest ever slugging percentage in a single postseason, but hiding behind those big numbers has been a relative inability to come through with 2 strikes. 1 hit and 12 at-bats with 8 strikeouts and 2 strike counts in Game 2. The Blue Jays are batting .173 with 6 extra base hits and 208 at-bats in that situation this postseason. Yeah, Vesia being unavailable it's tough. Blue Jays batting splits this postseason. In 2 strikes, they are hitting .173 with a .231 slug, and all other counts, .396, .747 slug. So if you're facing the Jays, if you're Tyler Glasnow, you know that the whole game plan is to get ahead and get to 2 strikes, but you also know that they're very aggressive early in the count. So it's all about quality pitches at the beginning of these at-bats. Don't give them something to crush 0-0. Don't shy away from the zone, but make good choices. Stay unpredictable. If you can hit with 2 speeds down, if you can hit with the curveball early, I like the chances with that. But just pay attention a lot to the other team's approach, and remember, at 2 strikes, they have not been as successful. Not that any team is, and also that's where your strikeout energy comes into play. And hopefully the shadows will come into play if you're Glasnow a little bit into this game. Ohtani and Glasnow have the lowest opponent batting averages on 2-strike counts. So, it's exactly what I was saying. Like, if he gets to 2 strikes, the numbers start to drastically favor Glasnow. If the Blue Jays are aggressive and they're getting pitches to hit early in the zone, that's where the damage can be done, in my opinion. Star-studded and playoff-tested LA lineup has failed to deliver consistently this postseason. The team had just 6 hits and 33 at-bats in Saturday's victory. Since the start of LDS, the Dodgers are hitting .216, .307, .359 while averaging only 3.7 runs per game. Interestingly, their slash line isn't that different from last year when they won the World Series. And we have some stats for that. Last year they hit .237, this year .244. And a lot of the numbers, as you can see in this chart, are relatively similar. They did average about 1 more run per game. People are here, so I'm about to be done in a second. You guys are good. Don't worry.
Sorry,
they can't see you or hear you.
Also was singing. Sorry.
You're good. You're great. All right, I got to wrap this up in a minute, folks. Dodgers postseason split. Space is empty. 229. Men on base 264. Running scoring position 230. And their at bats with men on base this postseason. Pages has 1 hit and 20 at bats. Muncy is 4 for 17, and all 7 of Tommy Edman's hits are singles. Freddie Freeman hasn't driven in anyone besides himself. So these are all just stats to tell you what's been happening. It doesn't mean what's going to happen. So I'm not going to harp on any of that because that's not the way baseball is. Sometimes stats tell you how it's been going, and it's up to you to choose, well, is the team due for it to happen now, or is that a trend? So there's always something to question with these things. All right. Starting pitching, state of the team's bullpens. Obviously, we know the complete game. Dodge starts with 7+ innings in the postseason. Dodgers have 4. Snell 2, Yamamoto 2. Tigers had 2, but they were both Scooble. And other teams had 2 combined. So they're the only team really going deep in the game is the Dodgers. I don't think that holds necessarily true tonight with Glasnow. I think it might hold true tomorrow with Ohtani. But for Glasnow, I think they're looking for him to pitch at his top level or get him out of there. So we'll see. They won't be shy to make the quick move today if they have to, even though their bullpen's not their strength. When Sasaki returned from the IL in late September, it was no secret he had struggled. But yeah, look at his AAA stats: 6.53, 13 walks, and 20.2 innings pitched. And Trinan struggled as well, but now they have been the best too. Vesey is away for a family matter, which we know is unfortunate. Sheehan was also in the trust tree. He struggled a little bit in that game the other day. And then Banda, of course. So, we're trying to figure out who they trust right now. I guess that's what it all comes down to. Here are the relief pitchers besides Roki this postseason for the Dodgers. 16 1/3, 18 earned. That's why the trust tree is so small, but those numbers are unsustainable in the wrong direction. They look scary and they look bad. Those pitchers aren't that bad. I promise you they'll get some outs better than that. And I think Dave is going to have to trust them in at least 1 or 2 of these games because it's unreasonable that the Dodgers starters are going to pitch every inning out here in LA. And let's keep an eye on Glasnow's. Shohei's out there throwing in the outfield right now, but pretty far, pretty aggressively actually. But let's watch Glasnow's today early at his pitch count, because I think if the pitch count gets high early, Toronto might switch into a pitch count, destruction mode and an ability to get into the LA bullpen, more substantially. They might turn into more patient if the pitch count gets high early, but I think they'll be aggressive early, trying to push them out of the strike zone and get hits. So we'll see. And this is the first time that the Dodgers will play 3 consecutive days all year. So, in the postseason, that's a big deal. They haven't had to deal with any real, reliever overexposure or exhaustion or anything because of the way their starters are pitched. They need that to continue. They are 3 wins away from the World Series. It's largely on the back of a few men. Snell, Yamamoto, and now Glasnow and Ohtani. If those guys pitch the way that they can pitch, they'll be in a good spot, but it is a big ask. And really, they just need 1 or 2 relievers to really step up. Got a whole bunch of Glasnow stuff, but we already watched all that. We just know he's really good. He's got a great curveball. Here's one weakness that I want to point out before I get off here. If the Blue Jays are able to get some hits against Glasnow, they should try to run. It's not really what they do. They're 28th in MLB with only 77 steals this season, and they only have 1 steal all postseason. Jimenez stole off Devin Williams. But Glasnow is pretty bad at holding runners. Not Ottavino bad, but pretty bad. 13 steals against, 0 caught stealings this season. So if Toronto gets on and they need to make something happen, look out for that. That could be a factor today. So, all right. So big takeaways for tonight as we get ready to say goodbye. All right. On the Blue Jays side, on the pitching side for the Blue Jays, what can Scherzer give them? They will not be shy getting him out of there early. Obviously, he might fight Schneider at the mound. But I think we're looking for fastball command and slider command and velocity early in the game for Scherzer. Those are three things that I'm paying attention to. And then on the other side of the pitching matchup for Glasnow, I'm looking for him being in the strike zone early, but seeing how aggressive Toronto is and how he pivots off that. Does he use the shadows to advantage once they come out? Does he go heavy off-speed attack? And then does he try to, work actually a little bit more of a contact attack at times with sinkers in an effort, to not try to jam, a round peg in a square hole, with a team that doesn't strike out a lot? Does he try to control the contact a little bit as well? Offensively, Toronto versus Glasnow, I think the approach early is definitely to be aggressive on early fastballs and things like that. That's the pitches you're going to get to hit, and you're awful with two strikes, and he's amazing with two strikes. So let's go ahead and pick out a pitch to hunt early and do damage on it. If you're Toronto, that's what I'd be looking to do. And when you get on base, look to run. Anything you can do to disrupt Glasnow, make him work hard, make him throw pitches, and get him out of the ball game. On the Dodgers side, offensively, if they're going to roll out their usual approach, they're going to try to hit a lot of home runs. They're going to try to wait for Max to make mistakes, and they're going to try to punish them. They've seen a ton of Max. They know what he's got. I think this is an execution matchup. If Max executes, I think he'll be fine. But if he makes some mistakes over the middle, it's up to the Dodgers to expose those, and they're one of the best in the world at doing that. So that's what I'm looking for today for Game 3. We will be back tomorrow morning for baseball and coffee from my hotel room at the usual time, 10 a.m. That way, the show can sit the whole day before Game 4. This was cool and everything, being out here, and I'll show you where I am really quick. Here at Dodger Stadium, so it's pretty dope. But anyway, we got it done, but I think we'll be better off in the room tomorrow. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and have a good day. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.